Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I sure hope we're on. It seems like it. What happened to my hat? I left it outside.
What's on top of the truck?
All right. All right, everyone, welcome. This is day 1123, 1123, and the date is 2224, February 2nd, 24, also known as Groundhog Day. So here we are having our vigil for the Northern Neck Regional Jail, not at the Northern Neck Regional Jail since the beginning of January. And as always, this vigil is for the January Sixers, of course. And we'll start with a brief little prayer, and we'll get started. So perfect timing. Come on in.
Sorry I'm late. I can't seem to get here on time.
Yeah, it's all right. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Come on in.
Love how you've got it set up.
Yeah, I just told them it's a little smelly. We can still smell the marker ink on it. But anyway, so not to put you on the spot, but would you like to say the blessing tonight?
I would love that.
All right,
I would
wonderful.
love
Thank
that.
you. Here you go.
I would love that.
Dear Lord, please keep us in your prayers for us. We need you so bad. There's so much going on down in Texas and, of course, in D.C. and all over the United States. Please bless us, lead us, hold us in your heart. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And as always, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
We have cookies here. It's a good thing about being indoors. We don't have to freeze, and we have cookies.
Yeah.
Ooh. If I smell like wood smoke and pig poop.
Those two go really great together.
Salt of the earth.
You got-
Well, the cookies
grab a chair if you want to
smell-
sit, if you want to stand. I'm going to stand for a little bit too. So.
I'm kind of a stander.
All right. Well, so again, everybody, welcome for tuning in, and pretty excited for the guys to call in. We know that Cheryl, you've been watching the vigils down in D.C. and that they did get a couple copies of the January edition of the Sentinel. So I'm excited to hear what those guys have to say about it.
Yeah.
What they said on the vigil the other night was, I think it was Dominic that compared it to almost an Epic Times sort of type paper. So I thought that was a very big
That's
compliment.
a high regard.
High compliment.
Yeah.
They talked about John and you, and said,
You got the microphone.
You don't get to do it without.
They just. They spoke about John Haynes and how they met him, and
Perfect.
that he's a really awesome editor, and everything in the Sentinel really makes sense and is written for everybody to read, that easily to read.
Yeah, so that was one thing, and then another thing I want to make sure that we cover, we talked about this a little bit before we turned on the live stream, so everyone, Maurice said it, I think, earlier, being worried about these guys when they get washed out or into the federal system. As we know, a lot of them aren't able to communicate. They lose their privileges. Barry Ramey was an example of that. I did notice he's on Corlinks. I sent him a message just yesterday, hoping he gets that, but he lost privileges for at least 3 or 4 weeks because he spoke at one of the vigils. Even though he thought he had permission, he did not. And then Tim Bonner, understand, is in Texas and is in a facility there where he's waiting to be cleared. As you know, when these guys go and they get moved, oftentimes they wait days and days and days until they're then moved into either the general population or moved on. So Tim needs some support, and if it's just some letters we can write, we're going to need to talk about that tonight, just something to help him out. And then we really need to look at who are the guys that have the less help on the outside, because some are blessed with fiancés or wives or husbands and fathers and family that are looking after them and supporting
Someone
them.
that can interface.
And some are not. Some just don't have that network, so they really need the help. And I think that's one of the areas where we can focus our energies this year, is supporting and maybe even sponsoring a couple of these guys that just need it. And others, many of the others have said, I don't need your help. With the commissary back in the day when we did that, they would say, give it to someone else. So anyway, that's a thought for y'all to chew on.
My observation is just that it seems the commissary is the checkbox, and what we're actually doing here, having them call in, get the streaming going on, seems to be more exceptions, but in general it seems that way.
And
The only
letters.
thing that happened to us, our group donated $260 to 3 of them. So we raised like $700 and something, and then like the next day, they took it all. The government took it all.
Really?
It was for Jonathan Mellis. Yeah.
What do you mean they took it, Gene? How did they take it?
He got sentenced, and they took almost all of it. Was what was reported to us. So, by Jen Baker and a bunch of those that are keeping track of that, and they're like, they confiscated their money.
That's not the first story we've heard like that.
And it's one that I just got a call from a lady that most of us know. You've not met her yet, but her son has been in the local jail and has experienced a lot of issues there, health-related issues and so on. He's out of that facility now. He's in another place, but it seems like they can't get back the commissary that he had left over on his commissary. So
It's profit, don't you know?
well, that's one of the areas that I would like, I want to kind of quiz these guys a little bit. We let them do all the talking for the most part, and that's good, because this is their voice, this is their opportunity to get it out. But I have a few questions that I'd like to get out. That's one of them, is commissary. In fact, she asked me specifically to find out if we could. What was that?
I didn't move the trash can, but I have stuff in there that must have thrown milk stuff in there. It
You know-
stinks.
Smells bad.
Well, let's
huh?
get it out then.
You sure it's not me?
Well, I was trying to think it might have,
Point,
thinking
point.
about the back, I said, well, it's coming from there. And then
It doesn't look like they've done much since the last.
It looks so different than last week. It was all set for that wedding and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's,
I guess they
I
left
made
the
a
wedding at
newsletter.
the end.
I saw. It looks really
Whatever.
nice.
Get approval tonight from the boss and see whether we can make it for the,
Oh, Lego man.
yeah, I have to get that out somehow, because
This looks really
he
nice.
had sent me the letter and he wanted everybody to know about it, so I figured this is the best way to get it out to everybody.
Yeah, may I take one?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
that
think
would
Thank you.
be
I'll put it in our newsletter. I gotta get that out. One thing I am worried about, y'all are hearing everything going on in Texas.
Yeah.
They're really afraid that's gonna be another trap, another J6.
So what is the place that they're going to, sorry, what is the place that they're gathering? Is it something Gap? It's not the Darien Gap, obviously, it's the
Yeah,
something Gap.
and I'm hearing mixed stories about where they're going and where the truckers are going and where the feds are going.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're geographically exclusive. But I don't buy it. I just don't.
Somebody sent me.
But there's a lot of chatter out there about don't go, because it is a trap, and it kind of looks
Yes,
just like it.
it
The chatter coming out from the 3-letter agencies is saying that there's credible threats and this, that, and the other thing, just like another event we can remember near and dear.
Yeah, well, I think that's, people need to be aware, and so here's the difference. A lot of people probably are coming there prepared in different ways than they were when they went down to DC. So we gotta, hopefully people are being smart about, what they're doing.
Right.
There's a lot of people, but I mean, it's really pretty impressive to think about how many people are, whoops. Is it that one?
Those who,
Yeah.
Yes, It's making noise.
Those. Anyway, those who want to follow the convoy, Sherry Hafner is there, and I was looking at her website this morning. She was buying T-shirts, but you go on Sapphire Patriot YouTube, and you can follow the convoy.
I just said everything I wanted to say. Sherry Hafner is, from Freedom Corner, is on her way to Texas. And if you want to follow what's going on, they made a stop today. She was buying T-shirts, but the whole event is supposed to start today, I believe, February 2nd, which is Groundhog Day.
Here was a reel
And so
somebody sent me.
go on Sapphire Patriot, YouTube Sapphire Patriot, and you could follow the convoy.
He's talking about
I have a reel by Paul Davis that somebody sent me that I'm going to be posting for our Breakfast Club newsletter, and it's only a few minutes. I'm going to play it, and he talks about what they're afraid of with these truckers.
I am the lawyer for this organization to Take Our Border Back convoy, this trucker convoy that is going down to the border this week. And yesterday, after sitting in on a lot of meetings and getting a lot of information about this, I started to have this just gut feeling that something is very wrong here. And being a Christian, I asked God, are you trying to say something to me? And immediately I got this huge epiphany. Oh my gosh, the feds are trying to turn this into January 6th 2.0. That is exactly what's happening here. And so, I've discussed this with the leadership. We do have very good reason that is, in fact, what is going on. And so what I'm here to tell you is do not go to the border. If you want to participate in the Take Our Border Back rally, the trucker rally, go to takeourborderback.com. It will tell you where to go. It's going to be on somebody's private land, away from the hot zone where all the problems are going on. And there will be speakers. It will be a peaceful demonstration. It will be a prayer rally. And it's not going to be anywhere near where there's this confrontation with the feds and, the Texas National Guard, because that is exactly what they want. I just saw this. I'm like, it feels exactly like January 6th. You can see all the pre-programming in the media, and the fact that we announced this trucker rally, or this convoy like 45 days ago. And then between now and then, you have this outrageous Supreme Court decision that is completely insane, and nobody can understand how a conservative court could possibly have made this decision. And people are really pissed off about it, that Texas can't even have its own razor wire fence to defend its own border. And, so you have, and think about what happened with January 6th. You had, the Supreme Court dismissing the Texas case that everybody had so much hope in. So then you had a lot of really pissed off, and justifiably so, MAGA people descending on D.C. in large numbers. And then, of course, they had these federal provocateurs that instigated stuff and got people in trouble. And then they just rounded everybody up and put them in the D.C. jail, and they're still doing it today. And that's exactly what they want to do with this trucker rally. So do not fall for it. Do not, if you want to support this rally, this convoy, do not go to the border. Go to takeourborderback.com. It will tell you where to go. But the last thing you should be doing is congregating in large numbers in this hot zone where there's a conflict between, the feds and the Texas National Guard. And because all it takes, and we have good information, there are federal confidential informants, like groups like, Patriot Front and other groups like that, people that are not real MAGA people. And there's going to be some kind of, I could just see it. They're going to have a large gathering of very emotional MAGA people. There's going to be something goes very wrong. Somebody gets shot, a bomb goes off, some kind of terrorist attack. It's going to be blamed on MAGA, and then that's going to be an excuse for Biden to declare martial law and invoke the Insurrection Act and see all these MAGA people are extremists, they're terrorists, they're domestic terrorists, and we have to use all means available. So I have to invoke the Insurrection Act and federalize the National Guard and all stuff. You can just see that is what they are begging for. They are begging for an excuse for our movement, which we're winning big right now. Trump is way ahead in the polls. He's very popular. It's going to be very difficult for them to steal this election. So pretty much their only hope is for another January 6th level event so that they can round up all the MAGA people, declare us to be domestic terrorists, say Donald Trump instigated it. You know, you can just see this whole thing. So don't fall for it. All we need to do is just not do anything crazy. Not do anything crazy between now and the election. And, you know, go to Trump rallies, support Trump, be loud, be proud, call your congressman on important issues, but don't gather in large numbers and give the feds an excuse or an opportunity to turn something into January 6 2.0. Make sense? So be very careful. Again, takeourborderback.com. It will tell you where to go, what to do, but don't fall into this trap because that's absolutely what it will turn out to be. Do not go to the border area where there's this confrontation.
That is Paul Davis, and his hashtag is at Fired Up Texas Lawyer. So he's down there, and that's sounds like good advice. If violence comes from all that, they could even cancel the election. They could use that to declare martial law, cancel the election, the whole thing. So just.
Let me give a little shout out to everybody, hey, who's online and commenting. Thank you all for being here. Linda, yeah, 20 miles away. They're not going to the border. Streets are filled, are lined with patriots as they're rolling through Texas. It's amazing to see. I haven't seen any of that yet. I can't wait to see some of that. Somebody calling me who should know better that this phone is actually busy live streaming right now. Patriots roaring. Yeah, I think I read that. All right, cool. Hey everybody, are we coming through loud and clear? We've got a new, I'm not using a hotspot. I've got a different data plan going, so I'm hoping that this is coming out okay. If somebody could just drop a little quick line in the chat, whether it's coming through clear or not, that would be great. Thank you. John wants a picture of all of us out here too for the paper, so there you go.
Yeah, I love that. Cynthia.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great banner. It's just great. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
All right. You were going to say something, I cut you off.
I was?
No, maybe not. Hey, so John Haynes from Northern Neck Sentinel, as everybody knows, he's not able to be here tonight. He loves to be here, especially to interact with the J6ers, who he already does that quite a bit, and has for the last couple of years. But he's got a deadline due for the February edition this weekend. And somebody that normally writes one of his columns had to leave town, so he's got to come up with another story, you know. And I think you know, you don't just do that in a second. So he sends his apologies. He's not here, but anyway, that's a message from John.
We have cookies. Anybody want a cookie?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't eat sugar
At all?
at all.
That's good.
And there's sugar, no processed foods, no glutens. And I'm like 68 in a couple weeks and nothing hurts.
That's great.
So that means I don't have inflammation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, after digesting that video you just played,
Yeah.
I think the playbook is no. We can all kind of see it now. You know,
It's a trap. It is a trap.
it's a trap. We've seen it before, but you know, if you look back just a few years collectively, we were all pretty naive back then.
Yes.
I think we understand how the game works now. I don't think
Yes.
that one works.
Oh, it's not working.
Go ahead.
Yes, we do. And, you know, to think back over that, I know my husband and I almost went to J6 that day. A lot of people did. I know some people that didn't go, and they're like, you know, thank God. But, you know, we fell right into their trap, you know, and we can't do that again. We can't do that again.
No.
These poor guys that are paying the price for that, and they're still rounding up people, you know. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard,
The guys might talk about this tonight, but they picked up 2 more yesterday, father-son group. So 2 guys were picked up and they're in DC right now. Just, we don't know their names, they didn't have their names, just that it was a father-son.
Wow.
That's sad.
Well, I guess with that, we should read the names. And by the way, it's come to my attention that I'm definitely short on the names on this list. So I just learned that there's a gentleman named Richard Harris, who I think may be in the DC jail now, but he came through Northern Neck briefly. And there's a father and son, Farbod or Farhan, I'm not sure which is father or son, Azaria is their last name. But one of the 2, so both of them were arrested for January 6th, but one of them came through Northern Neck Regional Jail, so we'll have to figure that out. But let's just run through the names. Howard Adams, Zach Alam, Tim Bonner, Nick Brockhoff, Jeffrey Brown, Mason Corson, Lucas Denny, Israel Easterday, Brandon Fellows, Todd Gardner, James Grant, Matthew Green, Kenneth Harrelson, Albuquerque Head, Adam Jackson, Brian Jackson, Justin Jersey, David Judd, Cash Kelly, Hosea Kenyon, Nick Lagerand, Samuel Lazar, Marcus Malley, Mark Mazza, Patrick McCoy, Jonathan Mellis, Matthew Miller, Robert Morse, Jonathan Munafo, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, William Norwood, Michael Perkins, Dominic Pizzola, Mark Ponder, Ronnie Presley, Mahila Pryor, Chris Quaglin, Barry Ramey, Zach Rail, William Reed, Howard Richardson, Thomas Robertson, Daniel Rodriguez, Jeffrey Sable, Ryan Samsel, Ronald Sandlin, Troy Sargent, Jeffrey Sills, Andrew Taki, Enrique Tario, Ricky Wilden, Kyle Young, and probably a handful more, including Richard Harris and Farhan Azari. So again, these are the people that we know of that went through the Northern Neck Regional Jail. This coming week, we have our Patriot meeting on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we have the monthly Northern Neck Regional Jail Board meeting.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock p.m., thank you, at Northern Neck Regional Jail in Warsaw, Virginia. And we're going to be there again, as we are every month and have been for, almost 2 years, or no, a year and a half anyway. And Thursday what?
Thursday's Board of Supervisors meeting and
Thursday's Board of Supervisors meetings, both Richmond County and Northumberland County. So, yeah, it's a busy week coming up, but
Every single day.
yeah, a lot going on. So.
and Monday's banana split day.
Banana split?
Yeah, my girlfriend said, "What day are you available next week?" I said, "We're not."
Hey, you know, we might want to talk about the hope that we have with the new establishment here at Northern Neck Regional Jail. We briefly touched on it last week, but we've got a new superintendent. And at last month's meeting, there was discussions amongst the board that had a different tune to them, just like a different feel, if you will, than the previous superintendent's approach to policies and procedures, if you
Questions
will.
were being asked.
Yeah, so, and we've got a new board member who seems to be not just willing, but curious enough to come up with really good questions to ask. So I'm kind of encouraged about that. I don't know if we've caused any of these changes in approach or if we've contributed to it, but I know that we did have an effect on getting a lot of those guys out of there when it was really, really bad. I don't know how it is anymore. And I don't know how we'll ever find out if we don't stay on top of them, but.
Yeah, that's really great, Maurice, you're right. So, as we've always said, it's not just about J6ers. what the J6ers did was they made us aware in our own little county of what's going on here and how the criminal justice system works and how abhorrent it must be to get sucked up into that. I think I told you guys of the couple in one of the local counties that were growing too many pot plants. They had 6 instead of 4 or something like that, whatever. And the husband and wife, both retired in their 60s or 70s, ended up in the Northern Neck Regional Jail. So I've not ever been able to find out the details and all that, but it's one thing to say that you ended up in the county lockup. It's another thing to say you ended up in the Northern Neck Regional Jail with rapists and murderers and gang members and everything else that they have there. And that's how that system is set up. And they know it. They originally designed this jail to be a place to take care of a local county need, but they quickly figured out how to make money on it and turn it into a machine. And therefore, they've got some really unsavory type of people that are here, and heaven forbid if you fall into it.
It's awful.
Something else. Oh, all right. Well,
Smart meters
smart meters is up next, yeah.
before the calls come.
It's really great y'all are getting involved with your jail and helping make a difference out there.
Got to.
Yeah.
Well, we're also kind of fortunate in that the structure of the thing, because a lot of folks in larger communities may not have the same ability that we have.
So I did see, this was something that one of our members of the Patriots sent me, a lady in Ohio. She was one of the only conservative, she was the only conservative member of the local government, the only Republican. She was a commissioner, county commissioner, and they ganged up against her. And when she started speaking out against what was going on in the local jail, that's when they really came after her and pulled her out of a meeting and stuff. I got to send that off to everybody here in the group. That's really interesting. But here's on a little lighter note. This is a little Catholic humor. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I've been with a loose girl. This is a young boy who's in confession. The priest asks, is that you, little Joey Pagano? Yes, Father, it is. And who was the girl you were with? I can't tell you, Father. I don't want to ruin her reputation. Well, Joey, I'm sure to find out her name sooner or later, so you may as well tell me now. Was it Tina Minetti? I cannot say. Was it Teresa Mazzarelli? I'll never tell. Was it Nina Capelli? I'm sorry, but I cannot name her. Was it Kathy Pirano? My lips are sealed. Was it Rosa D'Angelo then? Please, Father, I cannot tell you. The priest sighs in frustration. You're very tight-lipped, and I admire that. But you've sinned, and you have to atone. You can no longer be altar boy now for 4 months. Now you go and behave yourself. Joey walks back to his pew, and his friend Franco slides over and whispers, what'd you get? 4 months vacation and 5 good leads.
That is nice to laugh. That is nice to laugh.
It is.
Oh, yeah, I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Well, smart meters. So I think we talked about this last time. I got a smart meter installed, and we're going to be going in front of the Board of Supervisors to talk about it and do a presentation. Got some really great data and slides, basically, from VAMFA, from Virginia Medical Freedom Alliance. So Doris Nick is the woman who's really been chasing this since 2020, actually. She's been on top of the EMR, electromagnetic radiation is what it is, and it's bad. So I got this little cool meter, Safe and Sound Pro 2. You can get this, let's see, I don't know, the website's not there handy, but it measures the electromagnetic radiation. It's an extreme event because we're here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cell phones and Wi-Fi and everything, and exactly fluorescent lights and so on. So it's pretty high right now. But it's a really cool device. I was amazed to see where the safe spots in my house were and where they were not, and what I could do by simply shutting things down, shutting off things as innocuous as your mice to your computer. You know, your wireless mice, your wireless printer, your TV, the remotes, all of it. And I just went through this little thing the other night of just shutting everything down, shutting it off as much as I could. And it got back to an almost really safe level. And luckily, the really important thing is where I sleep. It's in the perfectly good range. So pretty neat. This is.
Where do you get one of those, and how much does it cost?
I'll tell you in a minute. SafeLivingTechnologies.com. www.safelivingtechnologies.com. And they got a lot of really good information on here. And these are the readings, and it comes in basically, I think the measure is watts per square meter of RF. And it's really fascinating to learn that essentially the FCC has established the regulations that cell phones, everything else are based upon by studies that were done in the 1980s on rats and monkeys, where they measured the amount of electromagnetic frequency radiation that they needed to raise the body temperature of a living organism by 1 degree, and said, okay, that's probably too much, so let's keep it under that. And this is what we've been working with forever, and the FCC has refused to update the guidelines, and because they're captured. It's another case of industry capture, and if you don't know what that means, it's people that leave the FDA to go to work for Big Pharma, and so Big Pharma now controls the FDA, and it's all that sort of thing. So it's a big piece of it.
Imagine how much radiation is being given off by 20 MacBooks, wireless MacBooks in a classroom. You know, that is what's going on. They need to wire all the computers if they're going to have computers, because then they don't give off near the radiation. But when you've got like all these kids sitting around in a single classroom with a teacher, wireless MacBooks is what they've got.
And smart boards.
It's smart boards. Yeah, the smart boards, everything's like, you know, no wonder the kids are having a hard time.
Yeah.
No, we and it's funny, you know, out here we live close to the Chesapeake Bay, and here's something that a lot of people don't realize is that those radio waves become very crystal clear when you're out there on the water, no matter how far away you are from the source. That stuff just bounces. It's everywhere out there. But you know, my question is specifically, we're going to take a phone call.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Dominic Fox.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $93.44. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
What's going on, Patriot? What's going on, Northern Neck?
Hey, what you guys up to tonight?
Well, we're just here excited to kick off another Friday night vigil with the hottest new podcast coming live from the DC jail, started by two guys whose names happen to start with D and C. It's none other. And don't worry, DNC, you're going to be in the gulag soon enough. And hey, I wanted to say thank you very much to the Northern Neck Sentinel. Outside of the Bible, maybe the hottest and most read piece of literature in the gulag right now. I know Chris got a couple copies. I got a couple copies. I'm trying to fact check this right now, and I see nothing that could possibly stop this. I see three different people reading it right now, and then we got to give a shout out to Jeffrey. Thank you, sure. Yeah, Cheryl Johnson. Yeah, Cheryl Johnson. Thank you so much for keeping us informed. Also the Johnsons. Maybe relation. I don't know though. Thank you so much for all of the letters going out personally to me. So yeah. Thank you. Tom, John, everybody there in Northern Neck, thank you guys. John, thank you for recording or for putting out the Persecute the Patriot. Thank you so much. We got the copy.
Thanks for letting us know. This is Cheryl. Thanks for letting us know that you got the letters that we've been sending out.
Yeah, of course. We, aside from the content, which was awesome, dude, what a cool paper. I mean, there's so many local newspapers that I've seen now that there's no color pictures. It's the same boring, just people renting an ad space. You guys, I mean, you're doing a great thing. The content's great. The pictures are great. And again, it truly is. I mean, the whole pod, in some way has had access to it now. I think that's a great thing. I know Wagland mentioned the other day, I don't want to get ahead of maybe his campaign announcement, but Northern Neck is seeming to be a very desirous place to live and one of the future mayoral candidates.
I might say, I did say, and I brought this up to Tom a while ago. I said, listen, I think Jersey's pretty much,
I think Jersey to Christmas.
I think Jersey, unless the gun range happens to happen with full pardons and everything else, there's nothing keeping me in Jersey. And Virginia seems like I said it before, it's kind of like Jersey, but it's more spread out. And it's obviously less blue. But it's less blue is my point. It's not a completely waste of time. We need to, take this country back, and I would love to run for mayor and then eventually governor. Governor Youngkin will be out of there by then, and it's time to not just fix the schools, but fix the jails as well.
Absolutely. And there's something to be said about living in the South, Chris. I don't know if you've ever had like true, authentic biscuits and gravy, if you even know what grits are. But there is, I'm sitting next to Daniel Ball and Scooter. The South is a great place to live. Southern comfort, Southern bells, Southern food.
I hear you.
Hospitality, all that. I'm looking for a Southern bell, so.
We've come a long way.
Out there? How are things out in Northern Neck right now? I know one of the last times we talked, you mentioned there's a new, I don't know the term, is a superintendent there at the facility?
Oh, yeah, superintendent.
Yeah, new superintendent. We're going to the jail board meeting next Wednesday. This will be her second one that she's done. And we hope that she does a great job with the next 20 years at this jail, changing things and turning things around. So we're going to be watching, we're going to be supporting, but we're going to be watching.
That's it. If she wants any notes on February 20th, I'm going to be dropping off and a whole year's worth of notes from the Northern Neck jail, daily notes. It includes dead spots of cameras where there's mold growing and water seeping through the walls. It's where the guards take inmates to go beat the crap out of them off camera. And that's what I meant by dead spots. And,
I know all those spots.
I would know a couple of those spots, yeah. Although I have to say, I held my own with these big old country boys. I did hold my own.
You did?
I have the video proof I'm sure Northern Neck has the video proof to hold, the whole truth to that.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, I want to ask you guys something. So a local mother who supports our group and supports you guys, her son has been through that system, and he's now out of there in another facility, but he can't get his commissary. What's your reaction to all that? How's the commissary collection been?
So you mean he's no longer in jail, or he's at a different facility?
He's no longer in the jail, so his commissary should move on to him. But I know a lot of people have struggled to get what's left over once they've been moved out.
So do you mean
that's not happening?
The money?
The funds?
Right, the leftover funds.
Actual physical.
Yeah.
The funds.
So they
hold on, Scooter has better luck than me. They wouldn't let me.
Northern Neck Jail, because the same thing happened to us when we left there and went to Lewisburg. You got to call the Northern Neck Jail and stay on their butts about it, or else they won't send it at all. Just do a call to action, they won't send it, but once you start calling, they will release them funds to wherever he's at.
My wife has about 15 calls, literally 15 calls into these people over the course of like 2 months, 3 months, and they refuse. Oh yeah, sure, we're on it. Okay, it should be there in 3 days, and it just never showed up. And finally, we got divorced.
So she's not going. Unfortunately, this is a problem that's not exclusive to places like Northern Neck. I left the facility in Florida back in September, and I had a sizable amount of money that was on my commissary account. I moved, all over the country to get here to DC, but my family was reassured that money, because when you don't know when you're leaving somewhere, and you're on somewhat of a routine where people are putting, X amount of dollars in every week so you can stay clothed, fed, and well, and then you're just moved out in the middle of the night that money.
We did have Lewisburg counselor there.
Yeah.
Called Northern Neck for us. Once he called Northern Neck, he got our funds to the facility.
So you really ultimately just got to keep on it, because like Scooter said, it takes an RA, it takes.
What jail is he in?
He's actually in another kind of facility right now. He's not in the jail right now, but
like a regional jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have them try to call. You need to get them to try to call Northern Neck Jail. That's probably the fastest way to do it.
They do have the capability of transferring funds to different facilities. There's sometimes issues if you're going from what I've experienced, a county jail to a BOP facility. But if you have family or somebody close by that you can authorize a release of funds to, that's probably the best way to go about it. Unfortunately, for me and many of these other guys, rely on these processes where they'll tell you, oh, we're going to forward it on to your next place, put it in the inmate trust account, and it seems without, like Scooter said, a serious call to action or demobilization, that money's gone. And that's another area that I think needs, to be reformed and discussed when we talk about prison and jail reform. Many of us are blessed that we have our families supporting us. We have people like the Northern Neck Patriot, Freedom Corner, and our friends around the world that help take care of us. But for some of these kids from urban DC or rural Northern Neck, Virginia, that it may be a big deal to have, your family scrape together $10 or $15. And then if you get released or move somewhere else, that money needs to follow you. There needs to be processes in place for people to recoup those funds. And whether it's $1 or $100, money's money, and just because you're moved on doesn't mean that money needs to go to waste. So good question. And sorry for the roundabout answer, but there is,
And that's a great thing to bring up to the new superintendent.
Yeah, agreed. So I read about an individual that was in jail up in Fairfax for about a year, white collar type of crimes, whatever. And his family spent almost $10,000 on his commissary so he could, communicate and have decent food or better food to eat. So it's not small change we're talking about. It says it's $1.7 million a year is what they make on top of commissary and phone calls at Northern Neck Regional Jail on 500 prisoners.
I would say that would be an underestimate. Maybe profit. I would say profit. No, I'm serious. I mean, I spent in a year, I don't want to give numbers and then have someone later say, oh, well, you said,
I'll say this. A ramen noodle where we're at now is half price, 45, 48 cents. The first county jail that I was at on the road to DC, it was $1.67.
It's about $1.25, I think, when we left Northern. But that was also a year ago. So inflation, this and that, whatever.
Bidenomics, baby.
Bidenomics.
But ultimately,
they're making, and I saw Youngkin, if anyone has any direct connections to Youngkin, Youngkin was supposed to put a bill in place. I really do have I have ADD like no one else, but I really do have a brain like an elephant. I remember everything. Youngkin, there was a bill in place, I don't know if it got passed, that was supposed to limit the profit. I'm sorry, there was a
Hey, let me help you, Chris. I have an answer for you. It's SB 581. It's SB 581.
To limit the profit that they can make per item.
Right.
And that's 100% should be. Sorry, someone was asking me a question and ADD. But I don't know when that came out, but I remember hearing something of it, and I said, hey, listen, that's something that that needs to happen in Northern Neck, because the profit margin that they're making is astronomical, and it's unheard of. It really shouldn't be like that, because it's not like that in the prison system.
Ultimately, if we want to help people to not make frequenting jail and prison a common attribute, why not set people up for success, or at least not completely financially devastate them? It shouldn't cost $100 a week to communicate with your loved ones and something other than the bare essentials just to eat. And when I've been in facilities all over the country to get here, and there's no consistency in pricing, but what I do see is skyrocketing and astronomical easy pricing, and that's just absolutely absurd.
Hey guys, we're talking about commentary, yeah.
We've got the emergency here with us. There was a question. We have somebody that's left the facility, moved on to another facility, and their family's wondering how they can get that money transferred. In your experience, are you just out of luck or what?
So, what I've seen in certain places is, like, from my personal experience, when I was in Los Angeles County Jail, I was sent to state prison. I had money that was on my books while I was in the county jail, and I left the chain, as they call it, went to prison, and it took about 83 days for me to get a response, not to get my money back. Like I said, it took a response, 83 days, and then it took a lot longer to finally get the money. It was like 16 weeks total. $83. Really $83. Your family, I don't think there's, not that I know there being an option where you can
You have 1 minute remaining.
pursue, like helping them, but getting in contact with the people that own the place where they're at, so you can figure more stuff out. That would be your best bet. And just given time, because it's going to take a lot of time before anything is possible.
The prison system works at 1 speed. Well, actually 3 speeds: slow, slower, and even slower. Or stop.
To put aside and verify what we've got to do, you also received a copy of the Northern Neck Sentinel, right?
Yeah, that seems good.
Yeah, so it does get passed around, and like a lot of the letters and everything else, guys that, yeah, pictures of your dogs and,
Normal stuff.
normal stuff, yeah.
Normal.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right, well, I'm really glad they got the Sentinel. It sounds like it's
They're
making
loving it.
a good
Guess you have
impact.
a new job, Tom.
Well,
The Sentinel has a new job.
yeah, they do.
They do a really good job. Is February out?
No, it comes out next week.
Okay.
The digital will be out Tuesday, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, and the hard print will come Thursday.
They do a great job. And I know they rely on their ads and their donors too, so try to support them.
All right. So I don't know who the last person speaking was,
No,
but I just couldn't hear.
that was,
So noisy.
Taylor, that was Dominic Box and Chris Quadlin.
DNC show.
That was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great.
They're having fun with it. That's pretty cool.
One thing I'm just so impressed with these guys is that they, in spite of all this happening to them, they don't blame the United States of America. They, you know, the spirited people, all the people that are part of the USA, at the end, they sing the anthem and they're USA, USA, USA. It's just, you know, the USA is just,
They're patriotic.
yes, and I love hearing them still being patriotic, you know, even though the current administration has let them down.
And they're keeping their sense of humor, so that's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I'm amazed at the evolution of these core group of J6ers here. You know, they were just on for, was it 10 minutes? They got us to laugh at them twice. They're sharing information, they're out there doing it, and to me, that's like pulling an Elon Musk to the administration and saying, you know, you're not gonna break us, is what I'm seeing happen there. They're not broken. They are standing tall, they're talking out, they're doing so in good spirits, and you can't ask for more than that. And if there's any J6er out there that's not in good spirits, maybe we need to seek them out, as Tom was saying, and find a way to do something about that.
That's right. Got a new shirt.
I know, I was admiring it,
But
I like
it's
it.
colorful.
All right,
I don't know if I'm in the thing, but,
let's see. Oh, yeah, perfect. 1,000 days.
so I have 20 guys on the front,
Mm-hmm.
and I think 12 or something on the back.
Nice.
And these are all the guys that I write to.
That's amazing. Did you have that special made?
I
Yeah.
design it.
Oh, you did? That's
She
really
did
nice.
these two.
Really nice.
Northern Neck Patriot shirts.
So I've only put the ones that I,
Two on your shirt, which is 30,
33.
33,
Wow.
so you're gonna need a bigger shirt or something.
Well, some leave.
I'm a
So,
little behind on the website.
Something about that.
Yeah.
Boy, I can smell that magic marker. Do you smell it?
You know,
Just a
I
little-
can't. Here, let me stand up and I'll stand next to it and see what happens.
He's gonna go home high.
No.
I actually had brought one of those markers in. I don't remember the kind. It's not a Sharpie. It's whatever. But I brought it in here. One of the meetings that we had some markup boards or some flip charts. We started using that, and people were gagging like, we got to go home. It smelled so bad. But anyway, for everybody, this is the new and improved banner. We always had the Northern Neck Patriots. We stand for freedom, and which is great. We can use that anywhere, but this banner is specific to J6.
You wanna show them the whole thing, maybe move aside for a minute?
And
Thanks, babe.
the J6 detainees are America's very own political prisoners. And you know, that says a lot. It's not just the detainees, it's the other people that are being harassed, followed, you know, tailed, talked to, neighbors talked to, surveilled. I think you all know that the U.S. Marshals that are supposed to be on air flights around the country, you know, embedded on air flights, those guys were repurposed to chase around January 6ers. And then you probably know a lot more than I do, Maurice, about the digital surveillance and the phones and everything else about everybody that came to DC, and you know, they've got all those records. Whether you even just came there, you might not even come there for the purposes of January 6th, but they've got your number.
They've got incredible capabilities. You know, you were talking about this radio frequency toy that you've got now. And their surveillance capabilities and their ability to filter out noise to get the signal, so to speak, is absolutely insane. When I was working, you know, I wear hearing aids now, and the hearing aids are Bluetooth. They would not allow me to wear them in the building. So And it was for the purposes of leakage. We don't want leakage, so you can't wear your hearing aids that have Bluetooth in the building. So their capabilities are significant, and they should never be doubted, and their ability to identify a face is even better than TinEye or what any of those other face searches.
I got to spend just a little bit of time today between work and everything else, listening to Tucker's latest program. He interviewed a gentleman. His face is familiar. I don't remember exactly. But anyway, he talked about the very same thing about the facial recognition when you come across the border. You don't even need to show any kind of ID. They know exactly who you are.
Yep.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Ryan Jackson.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $91.74. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello there, Northern Next. This is Mark Brew checking in.
Hey, Mark, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Well as could be expected with confined and away from your obligations on the outside.
Yeah, I got to ask you, does it feel like Groundhog Day or something in there?
Yeah, kind of. I live for what is happening on the outside. You know, we're ultra sensitive to the politics, to geopolitics out there, and as far as everything goes, it's starting to come around, and people are recognizing the difference between public law and private law, and I'm excited about that. It's been longer than the J6 stuff that I've been putting this content out there. I started learning and helping to train other people and bring other people in to learn this on Telegram a long time ago. So it's nice to see starting to see the fruits of this. We've got Texas standing up for themselves as a state. That's fantastic. And we've got several other states that have pledged their support to Texas. Today reported, officially reported that Florida sent another 1,000 troops over there. So we've got ourselves with opposition to this corruption that is rampant in our country, and I think when we get down to it, the human traffic thing is going to blow everybody's consciousness away, because human trafficking is more than just the traditional coyotes bringing over women. It's a state-supported, federally funded operation that is their judicial branch, and we're starting to comprehend that through the four elements of the contract, and how they turn defendants into mortgage-backed securities and hold them basically as collateral to fulfill the contract. The thing is that in a contract you have to have transparency and flow. And so my question is, when the court, and this is why this is why I call them a kangaroo court, is that, and I call the judge a clown, because it's been 3 years I've been establishing that he's not a judge. And so, when I was in there, I was able to put that on there and say, look, you've got your prosecutor who's making an offer, your judge who's accepting the offer, the court clerk who is then validating that offer and putting it into escrow, and an escrow account where it actually collects interest, And then you have the defense attorney who you think is supposed to support your rights and all this other stuff and represent you. Nope. They are just there to assure the performance of the obligation to fulfill that mortgage-backed security and get you on to incarceration. So that's the fulfillment of the contract, is when you get ready and repackaged as a financial asset, financial product, and they bid you out like a slave on the auctioning block, and then these other BOPs bid on you to see how, and bet on you or pay for you as much money as they think they can bring into their economies. So the judges don't have disclosure of this contract, and that makes it a fraud all around. And because of that, I asked for 5 years of the taxes and the financial data for the prosecutor and the judge. So this is the stuff that you guys are dealing with directly over there. My affidavit now has gone into Canada with a group that's working in international human trafficking between Canada and the United States. And I heard today that down there in Texas on the border as well. So people are relearning public law versus contract law, and I think you're going to see probably a lot more contention and conflict, which is, understandable.
Mark, what would you recommend for people that want to learn more about that? Is there something you would recommend, a website or an organization or something that they could go to?
Well, most of our websites that we've tried to put up or chats we've tried to put together have had infiltrators or have been censored. I've done a few podcasts. I did one with Lou Media in the UK. I heard recently that one is still going around. And it's all centers around how the states were set up as nations. And essentially, essentially there's certain steps and elements to building a nation. And it goes actually back to, the book of Nehemiah. And so and it's been translated forward. So we're not going off of rules in the Bible directly, to establish our way of life in society now, but we're staying within chain of title of law. And that is where it causes a paradigm shift once it takes. And I think people are hungry, and there's a lot of people that are hungry and frustrated for the truth and for, to get back to positive law where people have rights and safety and security, and not only that, but even above that, and prosperity and abundance. And, without that, we don't have a nation.
Need to understand the basics, because we've just left that up to other people to do it for us. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I spent most of my 60 years just thinking other people would do it, and that's come to a hard reality that you let them do it, they're going to do it how they want, and stand back.
Well, we in order to live the American dream, and that's a fact. So while they were constructing our reality for us through media, they were distracting us with clocking in at work and having to go to the grind every day to just support our families. So we went from one person income household to two, and then multiple jobs. So it's been a disaster.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully part of this is going to be that people we've got to get back to, some real basics, I think, because we can't assume that we can allow government or expect government to take care of those that need it. I mean, what happened to back in the day when families looked after one another, and so we've abdicated those responsibilities to Big Brother, and it's just not effective and efficient, and it's not working. So in fact, it's made the problem worse, I believe.
Yes. So if you look at our history and history of other governments and things like that, they all become totalitarian, and they all commit genocide. The League of Nations was supposed to end all wars, and yet they're responsible for genocide of population. So, it's not gonna do anymore. Just letting somebody else handle big things. We were meant for so much more than what we have resigned ourselves to, and to take pride in being the creators and priests of nations that we are. We have an enormous amount of responsibility, but we should hold our head up high and be proud about it, because we get to help heal the wounds that have been caused by this totalitarian regime over the years.
So what are your thoughts on what's happening with the southern border, and are you feeling like you're able to keep up on what's going on? I'm actually impressed how much you guys are able to keep up with, so I just wanted to hear your opinion of that.
Well, I've got amazing contacts. I got people that I've been friends with for a long time that are down at the border. So I have my fingers on the pulse of just about everything going on in geopolitics that concerns America, the United States of America.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So that's part of the problem here, I think, and that's what's turning around with people that are able to do podcasts and the kind of citizen journalism that we've got going on, is they can't stop it. There's so much of it that's happening everywhere that people are speaking to one another. It's what's happening with the X and other platforms where people, Truth Social, etc., where people can share ideas that otherwise would be suppressed and held down.
Absolutely. This is all a manifestation of the kind of an intangible concept of the birthing pains, right? Where we are coming to a realization, and the scrolls are being rolled back, and the heaven that has always been here is being revealed, and that is changing polarity of this country and in the world from a negative polarity into a positive polarity, and that's kind of deep. But if you look at it, the reason why Edison DC it had voltage drops over long distances, it loses energy. Well, that's the same thing. That's negative. That's like a negative. That's kind of like the negative polarity that we're in spiritually. And once we have this realization and positive polarity happens, we have optimism and we see the future as being bright and productive, then we actually flip the script on the whole thing, and we lose, we get rid of the Baphomet as above us, so below, model there, and we get to a positive law. Basically, which is public law. Public law is positive because people can't just come after you for frivolous things. There has to be a trespass or a violation. There has to be damage that's done in order for you to even start a suit. And so that's what we need to get back to. On lawsuits and slander, they're all guilty of it, and they need to definitely be pursued for damages. Now that we have been going after Donald Trump for $83 million on a frivolous lawsuit, the floodgates are open. There's no immunity for him now.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna fly back in their face. All of these things are gonna blow up, and I'm very excited about this year. And I think I've also heard it. We commented on it. Talking to you guys, we sense that you guys are also feeling that way, like things are changing and things are coming to a head. So, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, things are coming. We are, part of the reason is that we persevere and we persist. I insist that we change, and this country will change. We will get rid of the prison planet system, this overbearing predictive policing, and all this garbage that's out there that is putting us into this, dystopian universe. I reject it, and I don't care if I'm the only one on top of the mountain screaming it.
Right. Well, you're not.
You have 1 minute remaining.
You got something? Yeah, you're not the only one, but yeah, keep it going, keep it loud.
I know there's a lot of others.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of others. I know there's a lot of Americans out there, but just like with any wildlife out there, penguins, lemmings, whatever, it always takes the first couple of penguins to jump off that cliff before the rest of them go. And so we're just those penguins, we're those lemmings that are willing to, to fall on the sword a little bit ahead of the pack. But, we'll get there and we'll keep fighting forward. And as everybody joins in support and realizes their power, their strength, that God is with them, then we will prevail.
I agree, Mark. Keep the power and keep the faith and keep your word and do it, and we're going to get there. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
That's great.
Yeah, I remember last time he was talking a little bit about that same kind of
I think there's
concept.
a whole lot more to it that he's got to share.
Yeah, pretty good. So Mark's last name was what?
Brew.
Brew, B-R-E-A-U, I think.
B-R-U.
B-R-U, Mark Brew. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, they're all touching on it too. The more they indict, the more we unite.
Nice, I like it.
I heard somebody say that.
And the word unite, it's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if anybody here has watched the Game of Thrones outside of Cheryl and myself, but you may recall the final speech by Tyrion Lannister. And he starts off, he says, what unites a people? Armies? Gold? Flags? No, none of that. Stories. That's what unites a people. There is nothing in the world more powerful than a good story. Nothing can stop it. No enemy can defeat it. And who has a better story to tell? And I'm carrying forward. Who has a better story to tell now than we the people? We've got a story, and it's building, and we're telling it. Love that.
Awesome. Okay.
Any word on the signal strength?
Yeah, somebody earlier said it looked really good. It was good. Yeah, we've got a nice following tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us and for all the comments. Can't keep up with them, but did you watch last night's rally? I know people are. I've watched I don't get to watch a lot of it, but full police escorts. That's about the border.
I can't watch everything. I can't read everything. I can't keep up with everything.
Only a little bit. That's all we need to do.
That's all I can do. And I feel like I'm doing less than I was a year ago, but I know I'm not. Because I've gotten emails for other activities just while we're sitting here. And busy times.
Yes, indeed. Oh.
So what's the story with that broken microphone?
I don't know. It's just they're not very.
It's been finicky for about 5 months.
I bought a new one just in case, but it's time to roll it out, I think.
You want to sit?
I'm good, thank you. I'm kind of a stander. If I sit, I fall asleep.
How long is your drive?
Takes about over an hour.
Well, that's not too
It's
bad.
not too bad.
I mean, it's half an hour for me to get here, but that's
Takes us 45.
What's
I
he
guess
going?
that's about right, because you're up there,
Yeah.
Callio, and we're all the way at the far end.
Then like
So,
an
yeah, that's
hour
about right.
5 or hour 10, something like that. So y'all don't live right down the street either, huh?
No.
Ah.
But see, that's the thing about living around these parts, you know. Folks that live in like New York, she was born and raised in New York, so I had the opportunity to go see it. And you can live in these high-rise buildings that you don't need a car, because you can walk and you can find all your food,
Right.
whether you're buying groceries or going to a restaurant or some other establishment for eating. You can find all your clothes. Any shopping you want to do, you can do it within walking distance. So everybody walks.
Yeah.
People in New York are generally thinner than those of us out here in the country land, because we sit in our cars every time we want to go to it. I'm not talking about Tom here. But,
I'm from
yeah, so
Matthews. I'm from Matthews County. I'm used to being like an hour away from everywhere.
yeah,
You really
Matthews
are.
is kind of the same as Reedville. You're
Yeah.
at the far end of your peninsula.
I'm like an hour away from everywhere, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because I do programs over in Williamsburg and Hampton. I'll go to Norfolk and Virginia Beach sometimes and do programs. So, growing your food, grow your medicine.
Cheryl's saying that she wants to come see your place.
Oh, I'd love to have you visit.
Yeah, I wanted to find out, I don't know if I'm behind the power curve, but, you know, for planting seeds for the, cool weather vegetables, the broccoli and all that. I haven't planted the seeds yet, so,
Is it time to start that already?
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
Especially for the cold things. I have lettuces that made it through that
Mine
bad
did too.
cold snap, you know.
mine did too. You
Yeah.
said they were bitter though.
Oh,
Yeah,
really
so,
bitter?
they started growing slower, right, and they became bitter. And if they survive into spring and keep going, they shouldn't, but if they do, I would anticipate they'll grow faster and therefore won't be quite so bitter.
Yeah.
Maybe take some of the leaves off and maybe it'll
Yeah.
encourage it to grow.
Yeah, my red lettuces
should've
didn't do as good
They
as the
didn't?
green.
That was
Yeah.
Our red
lettuces.
was strongest, yeah.
Oh, really? The reds did
Yeah.
better? Wow.
Yeah.
Red romaine.
Yeah.
Grow romaine. But, yeah, I
And
have
we
I have to
got
get
a
into
couple of artichoke
greenhouse.
plants that look like they made it, and I never got out there to trim them and do what I was supposed to do.
I
And
know,
they seem
it's
to have
hard.
made it.
January was just like, phew.
Gone.
January's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
But it's time to, if you have any elderberry, go ahead and cut that down to the ground. And you can
Really?
actually make cuttings and sell the cuttings. That's what I do. And then, yeah, it's time to prune everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, I prunes, I just have to,
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
just had to, my greenhouse, I have to, is a mess because I didn't do anything, I didn't put it away last year like I should have. But,
We've got a lot of wild serviceberry growing on the property.
so I guess next week, start putting those seeds in for the cool weather. That's
Oh, yeah.
broccoli and kale, spinach, cauliflower, all that.
I went to a big farm conference a couple weeks ago. That's why I missed one Friday, because I was overnight over in Roanoke. And the guy there was saying that, don't be fooled, it's gonna look warm, but
This is for you, Larry.
it's gonna be unpredictable. He's saying it's not gonna be so cold like in April or May, but it's gonna be unpredictable. So we might get some more ice. Didn't we do that last year? It got warm.
Yeah.
And then we got like an ice storm like in
We
the
had
end of April,
like
didn't we?
11 days where it was single digit temperature.
Late, it was late.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of rain, that's screwed everything.
Yeah, the summer was wet.
Then it was super dry. Remember, we
Yeah.
got super wet, super dry. Yeah. Gardening is a real crapshoot.
It is.
Gardening's a crapshoot.
I noticed that the farmers that grow all the corn and the beans, they seem to do okay, but they're using all those chemicals and
GMOs.
everything.
We had one field in Matthews that when you drove by it, you knew exactly what he did. The whole field only had like a few corn come up and it looked ratty all season. He planted regular seeds in GMO treated fields, you know, that Roundup treated fields, and they didn't do good. If you're spraying your
Oh, that's
fields,
the
you
other
gotta
part.
plant the GMO seeds.
That's, yeah, because I read about that. So like you got, as I understand it, you've got genetically modified seeds that won't even look, you know, if you call it look, won't even look at normal fertilizers that we would use, like what you put in your compost pile or something.
I use rabbit
Won't
food.
even, yeah, it won't even work. So you gotta have this other stuff that would actually kill off regular,
Oh, yeah.
natural
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
We have gotten so not natural, it's horrible.
Monsanto has been
Yeah.
instrumental in taking us away from that. But you know,
I'm editing it for next week.
we were talking earlier in that last phone call about how we've let things go. We were all used to things
Yes.
happening for us, and it made me think of my father referring to the TV as the idiot box.
Oh, yeah.
Well, nowadays we've got flat screens. You go to any restaurant and you'll see couples sitting there at a table, not looking at each other. They're looking down there at their flat screen. I'm guilty, sorry. But the point is that we're all guilty.
Oh, yeah.
We all do it, and we need to not do it. And it's kind of like that story that I was talking about. We got to be careful whose story we're listening to. And if we're getting our story from a flat screen, it might be the wrong story.
Right.
So
right.
that's
Yes, he said, we have been not paying attention, and now we've lost control of everything, so we've got to pay attention. But, you know, Republicans are so busy working, we're all working, that we weren't paying attention, and our country got taken away, and we've kind of lost it, but we will get it back. So, but it's gonna take some effort. You know, what I'm telling the people at our group is, okay, we got stuff to do. We can watch TV later. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
We got to pull ourselves together and put some effort into this. Look at the effort these guys are doing in the prisons and stuff.
oh God.
Oh my
Now
gosh.
that's a sacrifice.
Yes, and there's going to be a major movie made about this one day, I would imagine, you know.
It's gonna be longer than Dances with Wolves.
True, true.
It's gonna be a really long movie.
Oh,
I think it'll take a good 72 hours for it to just run through one time. At least 72 hours. I don't know how anybody could tell this story in a movie, in a normal movie length. Probably have to go to school and get a PhD in it or something. There's been so much that's going on.
yes.
I'll dare say it, this is not the same country it was 7 years ago. Not at all. And there's a lot of folks over there in Europe that are happy that we're finally getting caught up to speed. They've been waiting for us for a long time.
Have you been seeing lately, they're even talking about gardening is bad. You shouldn't have a
Oh,
garden.
yes. Yes.
You know, and everything, so it's, you know, here we go, you know.
Yeah, they don't
Here
want
we
it.
go.
We wanna
Yeah,
go to
I just saw that the other day. They were talking about banning gardening.
Yes.
Really? Let's see, the shelves in the stores are going more sparse. And you're gonna tell me I can't grow my, come take it. That's all I got to say. Just go ahead, try it.
Yes.
But things have been changing. There's a huge shift, and I'm really happy to see that people that I never thought would shift are shifting. That's visible, so I see that and I'm encouraged. Anyways.
Not my family.
Well, some are gonna have to take dragging, you know, and some will not come along, some will not come along.
You know, I worry about my eldest daughter. We can get into a conversation, and as long as we don't point the finger of blame, we see the same things. But as soon as it gets to who we hold responsible, polar opposites. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works at all.
Defensiveness, I think.
Our
It
kids
is.
are divided too. We're divided with our children
And
right now
she's gonna
too.
be like 38 now?
Yeah,
Your daughter?
she's 38 years old, she got 2 PhDs. And that ought to say all of it right there, huh?
There you go.
There you go. So, I don't know, it's,
I think it's divided a lot of families, a lot of families.
oh, it has, you know, Cheryl was watching something just the other day, and somebody else was basically describing her relationship with her kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing, everywhere. But you know, my mother, she's in her 80s. And she still to this day says, but I just don't like him.
I don't like the way he talks.
And I'm thinking, you call me up to complain about this, that, and the other thing, the crap that's going on at the border, the gas prices, the food prices, the inflation, the child trafficking, but you just don't like him. I don't know what to say about that.
I know.
I
I
just
know.
don't know what to say about that. So, but still, the numbers are getting better.
That's probably Taylor.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse it. Your current balance is $90.03. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Happy Groundhog Day.
Happy Groundhog Day. Hey, happy Groundhog Day. Speaking about Groundhog Day, I'm going to roll with it and say that we have the DNC show again, but this time it's with Daniel Ball. How y'all doing out there?
Doing great, Daniel. Welcome.
Hey, thank you all so much for what you do. I think this might be my first, also my second time on here with Northern Next Week. You called Northern Next a couple of times. And then when I first got here, I've been kind of laying low. I wanted to thank you so much for what you do. The other night, I was on the DC vigil though, and some people told me that they felt like I was advocating for violence, and I wrote a little disclaimer, if you will. I wanted to read it. For anybody that heard me the other night, maybe was wanted to follow up on that. So here it goes. I wanted to clear the air on something. It was just to me that while talking the other night on the vigil, it seemed I was advocating for violence. Well, I want to be known that I wish for peace as much as anybody in this world. However, quote-unquote violence must be an option kept on the table, ready for circumstances that will require it. We need to quit speaking of violence as if it has no appropriate place, because it absolutely does have right places. Good people must be capable of violence when evil uses violence to force compliance. Our Second Amendment does not exist so that we may remain at peace. It exists so that we may regain peace. Our brilliant founding fathers clearly knew times would come which our God-given rights would have to be vindicated or relinquished. And that's my statement there.
Wow, that's really great.
That was great. That was not rehearsed. Dan said, "Hey, let me just run in and grab this piece of paper really quick." I thought it was a letter from someone, and I had no idea any of this was taking place. So how's it looking out there? Is the Great Awakening continuing? Is it on fire?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. It just feels like that awakening is happening. You know, everywhere we look, there's the energy. You can feel it. You guys feel it. We hear it in your voices. We see it around us. So it's positivity.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Good deal. I don't want to. I know we're jumping around. I want to get this out. I got it out on the DC vigil. So guys that and Dan, is this okay if I okay. So this is Dan's time, but I did want to get it out on this vigil as well. You guys know I have spent I can't even talk right now. I spent about $250,000 in lawyers so far. I have nothing to show for it. And now I have a public defender. Well, I had a Dr. Flowers talk to me, and there was basically to talk about how we're going to try to renege my guilty plea of 14 felonies or stipulated trial or whatever my previous attorney tried to do, that every attorney on the face of the earth said, what the hell was she thinking? He was trying to renege that, saying that, hey, listen, my wife of 15 years, just said that she wanted a divorce the week before. I was tortured for 3 years. I wasn't in the right state of mind at that point. Well, that had turned into everyone seems to think that you have a hard time focusing on reality versus, like basically fiction, which is not the case. I'm not crazy, I'm not this. Like, listen, anyone would be a little nuts after what they went through. A lot of people wouldn't have made it, and after what I was put through. But I know where my head is. I know I've been saying the same thing. Tom, you can vouch on that. I've been saying the same thing that I've wanted to do since day one. And that's it. A, get the truth out, and B, go to trial.
Chris, that's one of the...
Go ahead.
That's one of the things I've said all along, is that that's the beauty of this being done over time. Your message has not changed. You know, it's not like you just came up with this when other people decided it was the groovy thing to start looking at. You've been saying this for years, and that's very powerful.
I've been saying this for 3 years. 3 years. I've been, or 2.5 on the air. I've been saying it for 2.5. I have a 27-page letter that I've spoken of for the past 6 months, 8 months, something like that. Whenever I wrote it, and it was supposed to go out. The jail refused me the right to send this out. Certified mail, because I wasn't going to trust a handwritten 50-page handwritten thing out and not have it go out certified. So the jail refused me that right when I was pro se. They didn't want it going out. So Tammy has it. Tom can get it from Tammy. Those of who know Tammy, please talk to Tammy or talk to Tom. Tom can get it from you. And this isn't the persecuted patriot I'm talking about. This is a letter to Judge McFadden. I was told now, Tammy tried to deliver it. I've been told by lawyer after lawyer, 2 lawyers now, hey, listen, you can't go this route, they're going to throw the book in. I don't care. I don't care at this point. Not because I don't care about doing the time. I don't care because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to happen. Everyone around me seems to. Now it's the Democrats saying, "Hey, you can't get the truth out. You can't get the truth out." First, it was Republicans saying, "Hey, you can't do that. It's not the right time. It's not the right time. It's not the right time. Let it drip out. Let it drip out. The truth's going to come out. Truth's going to come out." I'm running out of time. I'm getting sentenced in 18 days. I need this out. So please get the 27-page letter. I read it over the vigil. Someone transcribed it. Okay? It's somehow the jail refused to let me send this out. It's transcribed from someone out there.
Hey, Chris, that someone out there is me, Cheryl Johnson. I typed it for you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Please tell everyone that you know to spend the $5. I'm sorry to have you spend your money. Spend the $5, print it out, single space it or double space it, single side it. Send it out, certified mail, and send it to Judge McFadden's office. I'm asking everyone to do this. Hey, maybe we can all remind Mr. Quaglin that we're not going to deal with this a year from now. It's all going to be over. But no, and maybe we should quit wasting our time with this corrupt judicial system. And this is important because I need this to get out because I can 100% prove that the feds knew that January 6th was a powder keg. I'm not going to talk about specific details. It's been out in the media. I have a brain like an elephant. I don't forget many things. I just got into a giant fight three days ago over the actual calorie intake in this jail. And I said it was 3,000 calories. I said, you know what? I misspoke in this grievance. That's 8 months old. I misspoke. I think it's 2,700 calories. Everyone argued with me. No. Any jail that I said I've ever been to says 2,000 calories because it's supposed to be 2,000 calories. I said first it's not supposed to be 2,000 calories anymore. It's not 2,000 calories anymore. However, this jail said something way higher than 2,000 calories. Sure enough, the jail three people apologized to me. And this guy, and I was red in the face. I was screaming at people, and because there was 9 people telling me I'm wrong. I'm saying, listen, I don't lie. It's one thing I don't do. I don't lie. I'm not going to lie to you. I will never do that. I don't care if it helps us or hurts us. I'm not going to lie. I want the truth to come out. Where the cards fall, they may. That's it.
There you go.
My story since the beginning. I want the truth to come out, and I guarantee you. Go read the first few pictures. Read the first 2-3 paragraphs of it. That tells you everything that you need to know. But I have proof on it. I just need to be able to access the proof. And I can't do it in here. I can't do it in here.
Yep.
You know, I have a feeling that this is why the feds move me all around. Anyway, sorry. With that being said, sorry for hijacking. I totally, what was it, October 3rd? I did it. I 100%, Daniel Ball over here. It's real. I'm got it. I hijacked that. October 7th, yeah. I just really wanted to get more than anything and thank everybody out there for doing what you do, doing your part, and being out there every night, or just tonight. If you came out tonight, thank you so much for doing so. I love you all. I hope we get to see y'all on the outside here coming up soon. I'm sure we will. We will, Dan. We will. And also, if anyone can send a birthday card.
Whose birthday?
Birthday card. My son Nathan. February 5th. He's turning 3.
Oh, all right. Nathan.
Yep.
All right. We're gonna do it.
Tom, I'm sure you have my dad's address. Just send it up there. We've already had BLM protests up there and everything else. So it's already you know, if 1 or 2 people, if 1 or 2 hate mail gets up there, then so be it. You know, it's a public address. Just send it to my dad's house, and you know, it is what it is.
All right. You know it. We'll do it.
Bring them down. Thank you. You guys, thank you so much. And we love you so much. Dan again, God bless you. Dan here has the biggest heart in the world, I gotta say. And I appreciate it. He's a great, I think the same, but he's quite great here. Buck helped me out along the way here. He was here when I got here, and he's really helped me out. Every time I need some condiments, man's got me. Every time I need anything, man's got me covered. Dan is facing serious time, like myself. No, I'm not. I got another year left. Well, listen. Right now on paper, we're both facing some pretty serious time. Dan is facing a minimum of 10 right now. Because I'm not going to go into details. Dan can do that on the later date. Because the clown show has accused me of a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, they're accusing him of basically a incendiary device or an explosive device. Give me a fellow, yeah. And it's nonsense. I wasn't they're paid Antifa guys, and I just got trampled. I just came out of the tunnel from being trampled, and I stand up, I'm getting my bearings, because I just got out of there. Well, hold on. Don't go into detail. I am worried about it. Like I said, the clown show's over in a year from now. Listen, Dan has been hit with a minimum of 10 because they're overcharging us like insane amounts. I mean, this wasn't a grenade. This was a fire. One of their people,
You have 1 minute remaining.
I stand up, I'm gathering my bearings, because, like I said, I just been trampled, and I hear the word here. See all that? I look over, there's a guy handing me a firecracker, one of the M100s. I reach out and grab it. As soon as I grab it, as soon as I put my hand on it, another person with a lighter reached out and lights it immediately. And as soon as he lights it, I threw it. It hit the very front line of the riot shields and bounced off and exploded on the ground. It's a little firecracker, harmless. I put it off in my hand right now just to demonstrate how harmless it is. And they got in there. This thing. As long as you don't wrap your fingers around it, you hold it in your palm of your firecracker and light it off. It's a firecracker. You might get a little burn. It bounced off a riot shield, hit the ground, and exploded. And they're trying to give me a minimum mandatory 10 years for it. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. It's the definition of a tyrannical government.
Right.
It's absolutely insane. I don't care if you agree with us or disagree with our political views. If it's first us, it's.
Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
I don't remember hearing the 1 minute warning, did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, just, I was maybe into this.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that just blows past that stuff.
So what was it, Dan's last name?
Daniel Blanc. And his son's name's Nathan. Where do you send cards to?
To his dad's house.
No, I don't, I think
We
that's
don't,
Chris's.
you don't have that, huh?
Chris's.
Chris's son?
Yeah, I think we got it.
Chris's,
That's,
gotta listen to it again.
yeah, you have to listen to that, because I think that's who it was.
Oh, it was Chris's.
It sounded like Chris's voice.
So it was his dad's house.
Yeah.
Let me see what he says. What's his son's name?
His son's just turning 3, so
Yeah. Yep,
he was just
Well,
born
he was
when
born.
this
Right.
happened.
right.
Yeah, well, we have pictures here.
Wow.
There's a picture of Chris with his wife,
Wow,
and she's pregnant.
wow.
And it's a picture that was taken just before, the summer before January 6th.
Wow.
Born.
So it's like, it's really kind of a cool and wondrous time to be alive, watching all the people of the world, not just this country, the whole planet is shifting.
It is, it is.
Some of our friends in Europe, they've been trying to shift faster and longer than we have.
Well, stuff that's coming here is already there.
Exactly.
So, and they're like saying no, and they're like, United States, don't let this happen to you, you know?
And I'm kind of impressed lately with some of the small developments that are happening up in Canada.
Yes.
Well,
we need to remember our Canadian friends.
Wasn't it that there was some relief for the truckers that were charged with?
Yes.
What?
So the Canadian Supreme Court said, you can't seize their bank accounts, you can't do that. All of that was, the Canadians called something else, but in our terms, it's unconstitutional.
Uh-huh.
And so there was a whole list of actions that Trudeau took against the truckers.
They said
Every
no.
single one of them wiped
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So that was good. And
That is good.
I think when the dust settles, and I'm just looking, because I'm optimistic, I'm looking out towards some point past the proverbial end of this mess. It's not gonna be like a day though. You're gonna wake up one day and you're gonna go, I guess it stopped. Because
Yeah.
at some point there's a healing process that comes after.
Well, it took many years for it to get this bad, and
It's
it's
not
gonna
gonna
take
go
a
away
few to
quick.
get it back right, so.
But looking out into the future past, when the closeness of the fight is past us, I anticipate that our Canadian friends up north are gonna end up with a constitution very much like ours.
That would be amazing. That would be
And I
amazing.
know for a fact that there's some South American countries that would love to adopt our constitution as their own. Not saying that they want to become part of the United States, but they like the Constitution. One of the comments I heard, I read it was from somebody in Argentina, saying that they've learned they would never let these things happen again. But they still see the value in our document.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I was telling somebody just a couple of weeks ago, they were telling me how we have to defend the Bible and all this, and I'm like, if you want to defend the Bible, defend the Constitution first, because it's your first best weapon. It is, I'm not saying to adjust your priority, I'm just saying pick up the right tool to do your fighting.
Right.
It's gonna be a few minutes before they call in again. 'Cause it's gonna be,
It's almost 9 already.
well, it's 8:45, well, it's 8:45. Phone calls are 10 minutes and they like to time it. Cause if they called now, then there'd be a short one.
I was looking to see if the Persecuted Patriot was in this edition, or was it in a different?
Yeah, it's in that one.
Is it in the same?
It's on the left-hand, right-hand side of the, paper.
The right?
Keep going.
You mean it's not an article on the front page?
No.
It's too big for that.
Oh, okay, I Am the Nation. So Chris was talking about Persecuted Patriot. If you haven't seen it, go to Northern Neck Sentinel web address, www.nnsentinel.com, and you can look at past editions, but in the January edition on page 9 is the Persecuted Patriot, which is the little article that Chris was talking about. Now, having said that, his 26-page treatise, that's interesting. We can talk about that too. He wants that sent to the judge.
I'll send it.
So,
I have it typed out, so I just print it off.
You send it to a judge, you're gonna have your return address on it, and they're gonna come get you. No, they won't.
That's wonderful, all the work you put into that.
that was a lot of work.
That was a whole bunch of work.
Sometimes
he's-
just one
he's-
sentence took half an hour to figure out what it was. Because, you know, you get the background.
He's not exaggerating. I remember him talking months and months ago about having hundreds of pages that he took of his notes every single day of everything that happened. He's a copious note taker. And he got a lot of that stuff out of it, smuggled out of the, not smuggled, but taken out of the jail by his attorneys. So hopefully he's got access to all of that.
Sounds like he plans on.
I don't think he's ever gonna quit, even if he ends
Yeah.
up in a BOP at some point.
Yeah.
He's
Sounds
not
like
gonna
he's
quit.
gonna hold their feet to the fire a little bit there.
You know, there is a little bit of a Shawshank texture to this whole thing. Like, these guys. So Cheryl and I, and this is affecting my whole thought process today. We watched that PBS documentary. I don't know if you heard about it.
Which one?
It's about the J6 committee.
I don't think I did.
The
I'll look for
Unselect
it.
committee
Came out
and the
today.
whole process. The first 5 minutes of it are valuable because it basically comes out and says the whole thing was a wag the dog movie.
Gotta watch Wag the Dog.
If you haven't seen Wag the Dog, you need to go watch Wag the Dog.
Are they on, where?
Wag the Dog is a movie, has Dustin Hoffman, and a few other people in it.
That's 10 years old, isn't it?
It's 20 or so.
You can
It's-
rent it from Amazon or whatever, if you have Amazon Prime or whatever, or
And
I bought the
Do you have a
video.
It basically
I
takes
bought
an
the video.
entire presidency and shows how the president himself is a puppet of the media. And the whole media runs the thing. Well, the first 5 minutes of this documentary comes out and says, oh yeah, we hired ABC to choreograph the entire committee's activities for 2 years.
I remember them. They hired a Hollywood consultant for the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wag
And
the
he
dog.
was from ABC. So, yeah, and that's, and then from there though, they go off and they do all their cherry picking and context adjustments to the facts. And it'll make your blood boil if you watch the whole thing, because it did mine.
So what's the other one?
So that's what.
The one that's just recent.
Yeah, what was the recent?
It's a PBS documentary.
PBS, okay.
It's on, and it's like 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Wow.
And it's purely about the whole activities of the J6 committee. It's all about the J6 committee and what they did, who testified, saw your officer, Terry, crying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not a pro-Trump
Yeah.
documentary.
Oh, it's not?
And,
He's up there.
It'll make you mad.
It'll make you mad because they leave out so much.
Oh.
They just leave out all the stuff that,
They left out.
Brian Harry Dunn, that's who you're talking about.
They completely left out the fact that,
Ashley and.
they left out the fact that the National Guard was declined. They left out tweets that Trump had posted. It was purely a hit piece. It was
Right.
just a hit piece. Which makes it kind of ironic because, PBS is part of NPR. And we go to NPR to get our stats on a lot of the J6 inmates.
Well, their funding needs to be questioned, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the other part, is it's federally funded.
Wow.
Not 100% federally funded, I don't know what percentage.
No, but they get a lot of foundation money, you're right,
Yeah.
but much of it comes from the Fed.
A good percentage, and I don't know that it would even be hard to find out, we could probably just look it up.
Yeah.
So, but it was kind of maddening.
Yeah.
So switch topics on the smart meter. So I'll be, hopefully, if I get on the agenda for next Thursday at Northumberland, Doris is gonna come out from VAMFA. And she's just got an amazing presentation, and I've helped her kind of, I took her facts and information and kind of dumbed it down, let me call it this way. I took it to a very high level about why people should care about smart meters and just the basics of RF radiation and all that. So hopefully that, along with the meter, and by the way, did you know that your cell phone has a disclaimer in it about radio frequency?
does.
Yes.
Yeah, have you ever looked at that?
Yep.
That's fascinating. Most people,
In the about section of the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the legal section.
Yeah.
It's the very first thing that comes up in a very long section of legal information is about RFR radiation. So, that's interesting too. Most people don't realize that.
Doris presented her talk to our group.
Okay.
To the Breakfast Club, and it was really good, really
right.
good.
So she's I think she's taken that and grown it, and then.
Yeah.
What's her last name?
Nick?
K and
Yeah.
I-C-K.
It was great to see her at VAMFA, at that summit.
That red light therapy, I've got real interest in that too from VAMFA.
I got some handouts about that. I was just looking at them today,
Yeah.
actually. I got like this little area, I had some people visiting the farm, and I had them out in the refreshment area, and they were like, oh, look at that.
Uh-huh.
So it's very interesting,
Yeah.
red light therapy. Yeah, I hope, VAMFA will do that summit again. I bet they will.
I think what I heard from Sheila afterwards is she was already lamenting that she hadn't made it a 2-day event, had speakers both days.
She could have easily put that into 2 days, yeah.
Right, but they didn't know that
It'd be that well
Everything's a
attended.
learning curve.
Yeah.
It's, as things evolve so fast, the context of each, because we've been to several other stuff, and it's always different. So even with Sheila, every summit she wants to have, because the knowledge has changed, the audience is growing and changing, and the people that want to contribute are changing.
Yes.
I noticed that Dr. McCullough and I'm having a senior moment here. What the hell's his name?
another doctor.
Yeah, there was a couple of them at the very first,
Robert Malone.
VAMFA thing that
Robert Malone.
Malone and
Paul Merrick.
Paul Merrick.
Yeah,
They were the two that spoke at the first one that we
Is it
went to.
thunder? That's not thunder.
Huh?
I thought I just heard thunder.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
There's no rain, it's like, I'm happy that things are gonna dry out a little bit. We've been so wet.
Yeah.
Where we are.
Terrible. It's been awful.
Yeah.
Well,
You can't work on wet gardens, don't even walk on your garden bed.
Yeah, he has a tractor and.
And I guess what my point is that VAMFA and the people that support it logistically, they don't know how popular they've become until the people actually show up, right?
Right. Right.
She was worried about not having a good turnout for that, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, especially since it's a volunteer you know,
Right.
done organization, completely volunteer. Yeah. All right, we're getting close, aren't we?
It's almost that time. I
6
hope they don't forget
minutes.
us.
6 minutes.
They do. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they just can't make it, I guess,
Well,
sometimes.
they're doing two, you know, DC.
They're
and
doing
Northern
multiple
Net, so-
vigils, and I think there's a lot to be said for that, because, you know, they got multiple vigils that they dial into. You got the DNC show going live nationwide. That's just awesome.
Yeah, it's,
That is awesome. That is in your face,
yeah,
screw you system.
yes.
And it's not C&D, it's DNC because it's DC.
DNC.
That's why they put Dom before Chris.
But with all the vigils, at least they know we all care, so
Well, and
they're
that's,
not forgotten.
that's the good news part, but
That's the point.
I
But that's only
cringe at
for
the thought of
DC.
ever stopping.
Everybody else from the other states, they, you know, they can't call in, just DC can call in.
Really? Wow.
So the other guys, they don't.
They don't allow them to, huh?
Yeah, so.
Well, I don't know
The only
if-
way that, they know is when I send them a letter and they pass it around to the other JCCs, you know?
I know they're watching some TV. Are they able to see the YouTube channel for Trooper in DC or see this one here? No? They can't see the YouTube channels, huh?
They don't get to
That's,
see the
that's a
video.
shame.
No
That's a
internet.
shame.
Yeah, that's something I gotta do.
What?
There's just not enough time in this lifetime.
I hear you.
Finish getting things set up.
One
So-
thing at a time.
There's so much stuff going on. This story right here.
What story?
This one right here. That one's blowing up.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Not the postal, the forensic audit.
yeah, that one's,
And if you look on page 12, I gotta show you this picture.
John's gonna appreciate the kind words from this guy today about the paper.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I sent the guys,
Oh.
that's my graphic.
I sent the guys, you know, I sent pictures on my letter, so this is my cat reading my letter to the editor. That's in the Sentinel,
Mm-hmm.
because I always send pictures of my cats.
Aw.
My cat's reading that letter to the editor.
You live in Reedville.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's something I was thinking about. We got this whole economic development problem. And I know there's people that would scream at me, but if we had shipping, an actual shipping port, a small scale one, not something huge. See, the problem with Reedville is you can't drive through Reedville. It has to be your destination.
Oh, well, that's kinda like Matthews. We're on the
Yeah,
road
it's
to
pretty
nowhere.
much, yeah, exactly. You're on the road to nowhere.
You gotta be wanting to come to Matthews.
360 dead ends into Reedville.
Yeah.
You're not gonna call in?
I don't know, maybe not.
Oh, that's great, Cheryl.
Hey, Lisa, thanks for hanging in there, and everybody else, and even Larry, I guess.
Larry's talking about drug addiction and all kinds of stuff over there.
Yeah, well, let him have his moment.
It's almost 9. 1 minute.
I don't think they're gonna be able to do it twice. So yeah, you know what I was saying on the phone the other night about the blue light that they changed, they can liquefy and then solidify the bonding material that they use.
Yeah.
They use blue light for what? Well, that's still another section of the frequency.
True.
Frequency, it's on the whole, it's all, you know, we got ours that we can see, and if you go down lower, it becomes audible frequencies, and and so on. If you can change the physical properties of something using frequencies, and nobody can say that it does or doesn't. All right. Ready? Acapella. Yay.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? USA! USA! USA!
All right. Thank you and good night, everyone.
Nice touch there.
Yes, ma'am.